So this is an idea I had a few days ago, and this video is going to be me kind of thinking out loud a bit, more of a one-way dialogue or something to think about, I guess. And I was reflecting on the journey from the first time that I spoke to a GP to the diagnosis, and I guess going forward, of how difficult it is to describe pain to someone and being limited by like the choice of words. It's something that I'd never thought about before, but since I'd had to have come across it so many times, the amount of doctors that I'd described my symptoms to, I found myself really struggling to convey how I felt. And it's only now that I realize that that's actually a difficult thing. There's so many factors that are different between people, different pain thresholds, the choice of language that we choose. Everything combines in a way that makes trying to convey how you're feeling a really difficult task. In hospital, I noticed that some of the nurses would ask to describe your pain on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, to me, that's so subjective because so many people have different pain tolerances. What's a 10? What's a 1? Does a 7 mean that you're really in excruciating pain, or is 8? Or, where do we draw the line of different things? These, I know there isn't probably a better way of describing all this. We can only say, but it's still such a vague way to describe what we're going through. Now, when I tried to describe how I was feeling, I'd often try to show it as like a gradual curve. So I'd start to feel this full, dense ache in my abdomen, which would ramp up. And as it ramped up, I'd feel hot. I'd get like chills, feverish. I'd sweat. I'd get basically really uncomfortable, and I'd get restless. I would start moving around more. I couldn't stay in one position. I'd need to move my knees up, which would be more comfortable. And basically, it was like being punched in the abdomen, and that burning ache that's afterwards would be there. Sometimes there would be sharp pains. Sometimes there would be like a gurgling sound and feeling like there's motion going on, which was really not nice feeling at all. But that's basically how I described it, as like a curve of these like waves of pain, and then they would die off. And then sometimes these waves would be a lot higher. Sometimes they would be constant, so more of just an ache that could last for hours. Sometimes there would be like flare-ups that would be minutes long, but really severe. And again, I say severe, but to you and to me, severe is a different thing. When I'd get these fluctuations of pain, I tried having paracetamol. For about 3 months, I'd take paracetamol every 4 hours. But I realized that it didn't actually do anything. It didn't actually take away any of the pain. So I stopped taking it, because also it was so spare at the moment. By the time I'd taken it, the pain would have stopped, and it would have been this really strange cycle. You'd never know when it would come up. It would always be worse at night, though, I'd notice, and it would just keep me up all night. But then there's the times where the pain is not pain as such, but more of a discomfort, an uncomfortable, noticeable heaviness in that area, which is quite constant. It's strange noticing your like abdomen area all the time. You just can feel that something's not right there. Um, Again, difficult to address. And these things are so hidden that no one really knows that you're kind of going through these waves of pain, because you just look fine. And yeah, on the inside, you know that you're struggling a bit. You're feeling really hot, flustered because your body's trying to tackle something. And no one knows about it. You just have to go through it. And then when you come out the other side, you wait until the next flare up. Now, even though everyone goes through these things differently, from what I've seen and spoke to people on Instagram, there are some commonalities between it. Certain things that do appear when you're going through this pain, certain symptoms that are common. Obviously, there will be common symptoms because that's how they diagnose these things. And along with you describing how you're feeling, that's where the tests come in and all the medical side of it to make sure that, you know, everything lines up. So what I wanted to end on really is just a bit of food for thought. Um, that basically you never know what someone's going through, and just as a reminder that this disease in particular, it's so sporadic, it can crop up at any point, and you can have good and bad days, good and bad hours even, and to know that someone may be okay 1 minute and then the next they're not. So that understanding is really key. So I'm going to leave it there. Something I wanted to just bring up and talk about for a bit. And I'll probably see you in the next video.